So yeah, the auto subs, not a good job of this one, or anyone really. Automatic generated subs. I mean, we're living in the future. They're still better than nothing. They're better than not having any subs at all. They're catching 90% of the words. It's enough to give somebody who's completely deaf or hearing impaired, like the gist. And you know, it means that touching them up means it takes a lot less work when somebody actually has the time to go in and fix them. But yeah, it doesn't catch words like Democos and instead calls them Democrats. Democrats, is Wagram okay? Thank you, Eve Not Online, for the 200 bits. So let's go through it and well, actually, tell you what I'll do first. Let's go first across to the other window where I have the script already made because I'm a totes profesh streamer. Let's go through the first script. This is the first draft. Let me zoom in for you. Boom, 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 boom. 1 HP, written by me. First draft. Exterior battleground day. The party get a finishing blow on a demon who wails and dissipates in an explosion of ichor. They all drop, panting and drained, spread-eagled or on all fours, beat up, broken and bleeding, much like Long Rest and Can We Rest. Can We Rest is one of the scripts that was dropped for Season 2. Elwith Fan, thank you for joining the party. So Can We Rest was one of the ones that I'd written as sort of a callback to Long Rest, but it's going to be in a later season, which I knew was going to be fine anyway because it's kind of a callback joke anyway. Elway, thank you very much for the gift. Ranger, however, is not. He is severely beat up and bloodied, but acting perfectly fine. Thank you for the 100 bits. Alright, Lavinia, let's go over this one more time. The book looks creepier, it probably has a curse, or summons a demon, or sucks your soul inside of it, or something. Right, so what do we do? Check it for traps. What do we not do? Throw it at Jelineth and say catch. We see Jelineth writhing on the ground in pain, inky black pools of eyes, veins bulging and black. Bard, soft, pathetic. Oh, help me. Correct. Now I think we all got pretty messed up in that fight, so let's take a break. Chiron, which was Damocos' first name, the name he was given first. But I decided that Chiron was too similar to a mixture of my character's Aaron and Goliath character of Keothi. So I was like, go for Damocos, completely different, doesn't share a letter, doesn't share an assonance. Karen, is Wagram okay? No, but Yagram will avenge my brother. And no, there's no order to the letters. A few people are speculating whether or not are they going through in order? Is it in alphabetical order? Are they spelling something out? There's no order to it. I picked a letter on the keyboard. Alright, Theron, start setting up. Oh wait, never mind. Ovak, set up the camp. Whoa, that's my thing. Yeah, normally you got messed up in that more than almost anyone else in the fight. I thought you'd want to take 20. I'm perfectly fine, thank you very much. Perfectly fine, Theric, you're knocked unconscious. Yeah, I got in at 20 and now I'm back up. I don't know what these things mean. I was really lucky and now I'm hanging on to life. Exactly, so you shouldn't wander out into the wilderness on your own where you could be killed by all manner of creatures. Ovak should go. I like putting in the little lines that just solidify relationships between the characters. So Ovak and Rogue having a a relationship where they'd prefer to send each other into danger. I'm a valued member of this team. I'll set up the camp, and it works. And again, I try and make sure that any jokes that refer to other skits in the series, can still work without them. So Ovak has already been set up as the druid, the second choice for setting up a camp. Fighter already says set up camp. And so if you don't understand that Rogue and Ovak have this thing, then the line still works. You'll need to chop words, set up camps, blah blah blah. I'll have you know there's nothing in the rules that say I have to act any differently on low HP. What if you have to kill a deer? Ranger shoots a tree without aiming. I decided that we were going to shoot an actual deer without aiming, put in a deer sound as if he's actually just killed a deer that was passing. What if you need to investigate the area for a clearing? We're a quarter mile southeast of a small brook. There's a migrating elk herd 600 paces to the north of us. It's been about 4 days since an orc band of 12 came through this area. Wow, okay, fine. What if you need to... Look, let's just face it. Yada yada yada. Take it up with the game designers. I shouldn't have to act any differently just because of your need for immersion. I can think of one downside. Yeah, what? Barbarian slaps in. Oh, why would you? Ah, oh, damn. It was annoying me. Should keep him quiet for the night. We'll see. So, as you can see, this one has not undergone a lot of changes between draft 1 and the final draft. This was one of the later ones that I wrote. I think this was one of the ones... So I was originally... let me go back to the wanted screen. So I was originally hired as a writer, and in my contract it had 10 scripts. And then when in the logistics planning of it, they decided we'll probably shoot over 3 days, maybe even 4 days. Tell you what, if we go 2 more scripts, then we can do 12 episodes in season 1, and we can film 4 of them over 3 days each. So they said, can you write us 2 more scripts? So this was one of those extra scripts that I wrote, so it didn't go through as nearly as many character changes or like drafts. I think it only got up to like the 3rd draft, because by then we'd already gotten deep into the pre-production of all of the other 10 scripts, and so I'd already established who was going to be playing which role, what sort of relationships I needed between the characters. As you can see, all of the roles stayed the same. Thank you for the 100 bits. So I had already established which characters were going to have which relationships, like the rogue and the druid relationship, the fact that Barbarian was the stooge of the comedic bit, and Rowan was playing the rules lawyer, all of this. So it meant that I could write it a lot easier and had to do a lot fewer changes, and it was a real simple one. The only changes that happened was I made a shortened version, a very small, a very brief version as well. So let's see if I can find that, and I'll show you it. So on the day we had 4. This was the last day of filming, and we had 4 skits to film that day. It was raining in the morning. Because it was the last day of filming, we can't just push one of them back a day and film it tomorrow instead. So we had to get as many of these as we could. We'd already dropped 2 out of the 12 skits that we'd planned on actually getting. Can We Rest, and one from the same location as the first episode. So we dropped 2, and we were down to 10 episodes in the season. So we really didn't want to drop another one if we could get away with it. So we were already behind schedule. We filmed this one. We filmed episode 2, which I've already had a behind the scenes about, in which I told you it was probably the most difficult one for me to write and film and visualize in my head as I'm trying to direct it. And so this one was the very last one that we filmed in the season, and I was asked, like, hey, in case we get to it, is there any fat that you can trim from this episode? And so while I was on the day, I was like, let me somebody get me a tablet, and I pulled it up and I just cut like half of what you ended up seeing. And thankfully we ended up making it work without having to use the highly succinct version, because it's essentially a 4v1. If we can be like, all right, let's just get all 4 of you guys in one shot so that we can save time not having to see Barbarian's point of view and Ovak's point of view and the Rogue's point of view and the Cleric's point of view and the Fighter's point of view. Just have all 4 of them in one shot with the Barbarian in the background doing things, and eventually the Barbarian pushes his way through for that final shot. And then on the reverse, it's just Rowan. Makes it super easy. Barely an inconvenience. And so thankfully, in Long Rest, you guys saw Long Rest episode 3 or something. We were all bloodied up at the start of that, and then he goes, "What? Long Rest is going to fix all of this?" And then he goes to sleep, and in the morning he wakes up and he's fine. So we filmed the morning of that scene where we were all fine. Then we got bloodied up and made sure, like, are we done? Is that everything? So that Long Rest skit was the second to last. It was the penultimate episode that we filmed, because once we got bloodied up for that, we were like, all right, everybody's bloodied now. Finished off that episode, moved on to a different location of the forest and filmed this episode while we were all still bloodied. So if you watch episode, I think it's episode 3, isn't it? Long Rest. If you watch episode 3 and episode 6 back to back, you'll notice that we all have pretty much the same blooded up situation, the same makeup and everything. I did remember that you guys had shocking bipolar weather on that last day of filming. I'm glad you still managed to smash it though. Yeah, I was very happy that we managed to get it as written. The theory I need to confirm is the fearless one, the divine mage, etc. actually a surname. That's his name. My name's Fargrim the Great. Fargrim the Just, the divine mage. So his middle name's also Fargrim. Fargrim the Great, the Fargrim the... No, of course not. So this is the bare bones version that I had to come up with on the day. I've been like, just make it as trim as much fat as you can. Exterior battleground day. The party get a finishing blow on a smoke monster who wails and dissipates into wisps. They all drop panting and blah blah blah. Ranger's fine. I think we got pretty messed up in that fight, so let's take a break. Demokos, is Wagram okay? So I've cut out everything about... I've cut out all of the start bit with Rogue and everything about Jeleneth. Alright, Theron starts setting up camp. Whoa. You shouldn't step into the wilderness. Valued member of this team, I'll set up the camp. It's pretty much the same. I've cut out a couple of his lines in the middle, and then it goes down at the end. So it's the same thing, and as you can see, it's like less than 2 pages long. It would have been about a 90-second clip if we'd have filmed it this way. So I'm glad that we didn't have to. It was less than 2 pages. But if that's all we had time for at the end, if that's like, well, that's all we got time for, then it would have been better to get it rather than not at all, I guess. 90 seconds is too short. Yeah, that's what she said. I mean, that's what I thought as well. But yeah, I mean, it's if it meant getting a 10th episode for the season rather than having to cut it out entirely, I guess it would have been preferable. Do you put these scripts somewhere on your Patreon? Not yet, Yesker Faye. I asked Adam just yesterday. I was like, would it be okay for me to put them on my Patreon? Because technically that would be breaching IP, right? I wrote them under contract for Viva, so they own the scripts, they own the skits, they own my ideas and things like that. So I'm not sure. I've asked them to see if they'd be okay with it, but I can 100% understand if they decide no, they'd not be okay with that. However, these behind the scenes videos, I am putting on my Patreon because obviously it's my content. It's my take on the things and my anecdotes and whatever. Your poor Bard's having a really rough time of this campaign. Well, that's the running joke for the Bard, is that she keeps going down because she keeps getting bitten by shit. She keeps getting bitten or poisoned or attacked in some way. Got a low constitution modifier. Alright, so let's go through it one little scene at a time, and I'll explain any things that happened on the day. Obviously, you can see that this is mostly special effects. She's got the blood on her throat, but all of the veins on her face. Well, not actually all of the veins. Some of those veins are actually makeup, but they extended them and did weird effects with them and stuff in the After Effects. It's exactly what I wanted as well. I was just like the cinematographer Tom. He did like a weird sort of twisting, tilting thing as he zoomed in on her, which I hadn't asked him for, but I just said, like, I explained what kind of vision I wanted, and he gave me it. Which is why it's important to surround yourself with competent people who know what they're doing, and just like make sure that you're describing what's in your mind in a way that everybody can understand, because then they don't have to follow your orders to the letter. They can follow the spirit of the law, as it were. I would really like to be your scripting apprentice. What does that even mean? Like learning from me how to be a script writer, because I don't have enough experience to be a script master. I love that Brit's character, of all the characters, was the one to sass Bargram Fargram, whichever it was, for even song, but for going down. That's a good point. I hadn't actually considered that myself. I love that Tamika's character here has lost one of her tusks because like her teeth just kept coming out and it was a pain in the ass to talk with them in and stuff. And so she just took one out and was like, can I just have one missing? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like a tusk has come out in the fight and then it just like heals during a long rest. Cool effects, eh?
Okay, Lavinia, let's go through this one more time. If a book looks cursed, it probably has a curse, or it's jinxed or something.
Right.
Right, so what do we do?
Check it for traps.
Yes, what do we not do?
Throw it at Jill in it and say catch.
I love that her face is like moulding. And then these effects here where it goes, it like pulses with black eyes.
Correct.
And then I like the indifference to the party just being like, she gets poisoned all the time. She's always got something going on.
The unmistakable feeling that you're being watched.
Bloofies, thank you very much. Just chucked a cursed book at somebody. It's a very rogue thing to do. So that's one of the little jokes in there that like, it's very rogue-like to take something that you haven't fully identified and just start using it.
Now, I think we got pretty messed up. So, Demikos, is Walgrim okay?
No, but I Bargram vowed to avenge my brother.
So the little stupid thing that I really find funny about this is that by this point, this was the very last thing to film out of a 3-day film shoot, so I was very tired. I was also my mind just could not concentrate on the scripting and the directing and the acting, as well as how much my armor was really uncomfortable. You can see that thankfully for the last 2 things that we were filming this day, I'm messed up, so I've got this sort of like, I'm hunched forwards and I'm all messed up kind of thing going on. Because when I hunch forwards like that, the front of my plate digs into the front of the top of my belt, which allows me to take some of the weight off of me, and so it's actually much more comfortable for me to hunch forwards like that. So I'm not really focused on stuff too much. So I think on the day, I'd misplaced which Grimm should be alive and which one should be dead, because obviously I have to think about which order they're going to be coming in. And so I'd forgotten, I think on the day, that we'd already used Wargrim, and it wouldn't have been the one right before this one. I think Wargrim's already been used in like episode 4 or something. So my headcanon, which really amuses me, is that he used Wargrim again. He came back with another Wargrim, and then the people at the table went, haven't you been Wargrim already? And he goes, oh, but this one's WH. And he just like adds a little H in there. And so my headcanon is that he's now Wargrim again, but spelt WH this time. And this joke overall is there because out of necessity we'd got Byron looking all messed up. And somebody points out, like, if he's a new guy, if he's coming back as his brother, then he wouldn't be messed up. And I was like, oh, have we got a spare nose for him? Because in the previous one, they'd like sliced off some of his prosthetic nose, his like foam nose, and then like stuck it back on with fake blood.
Oh, for goodness. Is Walgrim okay?
No.
So he's got this horrific chunk of nose just hanging off by blood. And they were like, that was the only nose we got. We said, make sure that you don't have anything, like, it's okay to get bloodied up. And I said, that's fine, because if it's even funnier that he's come back during the fight. Like, he went down early in the fight, early enough for him to make another character. Oops, Wargrim's dead. Here's Bargrim. And then Bargrim joins the fight and also gets fucked up. Like, he comes back as a character that can't handle himself every time.
Oh, but I, Bargram, vow to avenge my brother.
Oh, for goodness sake. Fine. Theron, stop.
And that was a bit that we cut in the. So on the day, Rowan was not happy with it. He was like, "I don't think this joke's quite selling," and I was agreeing with him. I was like, "Yeah, maybe not," because the line went longer than that. I said, "What happened to? I'm going to avenge my brother," and I say, "What happened to you then?" And he goes, "I also nearly died." But Byron gave us a couple of different options, and so one of them was, "What happened to you?" And Byron goes, "I popped a pimple." And that's the one that they gave us in the first edition of the edit. And it was like, it's not working. It's cut any reaction to it and just cut straight to me going, whatever. Like as if I don't even care who you are anymore. And I think it works this way. That's why he's getting heals, yeah, because Bargrim joined the fight and then also got fucked up. Doesn't that also mean he failed all the death saves all the time? Probably, yeah. You can die in a single round. Either you take enough damage to just outright kill you, like he did in the first episode, or you go down to death saves. You fail your first one, and the guy finishes you off with another two. So he could have died in one round and come back the next round, and then almost died again. The tired voice as well. Yeah, I do like that he's changed. He's over time. That first time he dies in episode 1, and he comes back like, "Oh no, my brother dead as I live and breathe." And now it's just he's it's just mundane now.
Fine. Theron, start setting. Oh, sorry. Ovak, set up camp.
No. That's my thing.
Yeah, normally, but you got messed up in that fight more than almost anybody else.
No, I'm perfectly fine, thank you.
Perfectly fine? You were knocked unconscious.
Yeah, and then I rolled a nat 20, and now I'm back on 1 HP. What's the problem?
I don't know what that is. What do you mean?
Somebody in the comments had a problem with this line. They were like, "That doesn't make sense. It's stupid. That joke's dumb." Because they should know that they're in a game by now, because there's a whole Rules Lawyer episode about them being in a game, and then he later talks about HP, and they don't challenge him on it, so they obviously know it. So one way or another, you can't have it both ways. That joke is dumb. And I was like, no, they know that they're in a game. They're all people playing a game at the table, but the rest of them are trying in vain to maintain a semblance of immersion for themselves. They're trying to stay in character and not use gaming terms at the table. And so this is him not going, "I don't know what you mean." It's him going, "Hey Rowan, I don't know what you mean. Nudge, nudge. You should know what you..." You literally even mention immersion in the script. Yeah, I literally mention immersion. And it was just ironic to me that this person who didn't understand the joke was calling the joke dumb, because they were too dumb to understand it. Yeah, they know what's going on. They're just immersed characters. They're trying to not break. They're trying in vain to not break immersion by talking in game mechanics terms.
Then I got really lucky, and now I'm clinging on to life just fine.
Exactly. So you shouldn't wander into the wilderness where you could be killed by all manner of creatures. Ovak should do it.
No. I'm a valued member of this party.
There's a later episode that's coming out where Ovak says a similar throwaway line about the rogue. You shouldn't blah blah blah. Lavinia should do it.
And I'll set up the camp, thank you.
But you'll have to chop wood, set up the tents, start a campfire.
Yeah, and
you're almost dead.
I'll have you know that there is nothing in
I love his delivery of it. He's the perfect character for this role. I'll have you know, there is nothing in there. It's just he's so slappable. He's such a slappable person. Character, I mean. I'll have you know.
that says I have to act any differently just because I'm on low HP.
What if you need to kill a deer?
I love that little man off the screen as he's just shot and killed something from afar. I'm clinging onto life just fine is iconic. It's such a 2021 mood. Yeah, a lot of people in the comments were saying that's my new response to people asking how you doing. I'm clinging onto life just fine.
Okay. What if You need to investigate the area for a safe clearing.
We are a quarter-mile southeast of the river crossing. There's a pack of migrating deer 600 paces to the west, and looks like about 4 days ago a pack of orcs came through this area.
Kind of, it was disappointed that we didn't get a take of him saying herd or something, because the doubling up of the word pack irks my ear a little bit, but it's all good. Her tusk's back. I didn't notice that on the moment.
Any other questions?
What if you need...
Look, just face it. I'm every bit as good on 1 HP as I am on full health. If you don't like it, take it up with the game designers.
If you go into their Patreon, you can see a behind-the-scenes blooper reel of this scene, and you can see him going game designers, right? And he stresses that because he kept saying game developers, and I kept telling him game designers because I want to steer away from people getting confused into thinking this is a video game logic series. They're not game developers; they're game designers.
Okay, I shouldn't have to act any differently just because of your need for immersion.
He's standing on a box here, so they've done well with the Foley. I think they might have taken his footsteps from the previous scene and put them into this one, because as he's stepping up, you can hear him stepping onto the wooden box otherwise.
I can think of one downside.
What?
Ah!
And then there's somebody else in the comments like, actually, a slap isn't enough to cause 1 HP of damage. 1 HP of damage is like cutting off a finger or doing blah blah blah, and giving like a few different examples. And I was like, thank you for incorrecting me, but an unarmed strike does 1 plus your strength modifier of damage, and he's doing 1 plus his strength modifier to him. Is Emmett standing well behind him? No, he's standing right next to him.
I can think of one downside.
What?
He's standing right next to him. If Emmett was standing behind him, he'd actually look shorter, because things get smaller in the distance. So, like in Lord of the Rings, they had Ian McKellen standing pretty close to the camera, and the hobbits were standing further back, because, you know, look at my hands. This is an Ian McKellen Gandalf hand, and this is a hobbit hand. So if he was further back, he'd actually look smaller. So he's next to him, but up on a box. I'm here instead of watching PAX online because it's so much more entertaining. Damn, thank you, Kai of Pi. Appreciate that. I would have been at PAX if the world was open. I had tickets to go and everything. I love Emmett's wonderful, straightforward sass in this character. Yeah, he plays it really well. I love the different expressions of the 4 characters reacting to that slap.
I can think of one downside.
What?
Ah!
Phoenix going, oh! And me going, huh. And Damokos being somewhat caring, and Novak just not giving a shit.
Why would
Oh, Novak going, ooh. That must have hurt.
Think of one downside.
What? Ah! Why would you? Ah. Shit.
I love that.
Annoying me.
I love that.
Sort him up for...
I love same sort of cartoon logic as in the Rules Lawyer episode, where where Ovak doesn't realise that the shillelagh's disappeared until he calls her out on it and tells her shillelagh ends if you let go of the weapon. And likewise, he doesn't realise that he's gone down until it happens at the table. Like, because things in D&D can go months without being called on until somebody goes, wait a minute, you shouldn't have a familiar. Find familiar isn't a druid spell or something, whatever. And then they go, oh shit. And then you can retcon stuff and be like, oh, my familiar disappears. So in that sense, things do work in a cartoony kind of way that you don't necessarily react to the physics of the world until it's called out for you, until somebody realizes it. The delayed fall is gold. Yeah, I like it a lot. Is that Kikma? How's it going? I like I've watched Rowan get slapped multiple times. Should we watch it again?
Shit.
Damn it.
Why would you?
Downside.
What? Ah! Why would you?
Somebody needs to put it on a loop for me. I'd watch it all day. It is a nice sound, isn't it? I didn't like the Foley that we put in originally, but I was like, it sounds a little bit too wet. He's slapping him with a bare hand across the back of a hairy head. So can we find something that works a little on it? And they found it perfect.
Ah! Why would you...
Sound effect.
Ah. Shit.
He's annoying me. I should shut him up for the night.
Well, technically, page 198 of the Player's Handbook, I'll be conscious again in 1d4 hours, so...
I was a little disappointed that we didn't get an alternate take of that, because I think he swallows his words a little bit. It's a little bit hard to hear if you don't understand D&D. You're not quite sure what he's saying, and of course the subtitles don't help. Page 198 of the Player's Handbook, I'll be conscious again in 1d4 hours. So in D&D, when you get knocked... So what's actually happening in mechanical terms here is he's on 1 HP. The Barbarian makes an unarmed strike against him. That's technically PvP, but there's no rules against PvP. That's just down to the GM. So if the GM, Alan in this case, allows it, then it happens. So he makes an attack roll. He hits him. He deals more than 1 point of damage to him. So he goes to 0 hit points, at which point he is knocked unconscious. But the Barbarian can have said, before he makes the attack, I'm doing non-lethal damage. And so he knocks him to 0 hit points, but he's stable and unconscious. And when you are stabilized and unconscious, you will wake up. You'll gain 1 hit point and wake up in 1d4 hours, somewhere between 1 and 4 hours. In my games, I make that 1d4 minutes because, medically speaking, if you're unconscious for more than a few minutes, then something's seriously wrong.
We'll see.
And then that little end joke.
We'll see.
Great. 1d4 hours.
If you guys want to see us go down for real, check us out on our actual D&D
see us go down for real.
D&D. We legit play, we actually full on play D&D. Check it out. That's below.
Gross. Alan would not allow it, Bob would. Not against himself, but against when it's happening to different players. The Menace was great for Will C. Yeah, he does all of his lines well. He's just such a good professional actor. When I'm playing D&D as a young snotling, one of my friends was Rowan in a different form. Yeah, a bit of a rules law, bit of a grinding things to a halt and ruining immersion for the sake of getting the rules right. Actually, full-on play dandy. Full-on play D&D. D&D. Dandy. I can see it. Dandy. D&D. Dandy. Dandy. Full-on play dandy. Dandy. So what else is there to talk about? So that was the final skit of the season to film, but 4 more skits to show. What else did we film on this day? There was this one, there was the long rest one, there was that one that you haven't seen yet, and there was the turn-based combat. All of the ones that in the forest. So you've seen it. Episode 2 was in the forest just down from here. Episode the long rest was, episode 3 or 4 or whatever it was, is also filmed here. There's one more coming out that I think is next week. I'm not 100% sure. That's also filmed in this location. And then I don't believe we've seen any. I think the 3 remaining ones after that will all be in the second location that we haven't actually seen any of yet. What was the skit you could not film due to rain? Is it spoilers or anything? No, it's just a teaser rather than spoilers. It was called Spell Components, and we couldn't film it because of rain. So it's been pushed to a later season, probably season 2. If we do a season 2, if we get good enough views and comments and all of the algorithmic stuff, and they decide to greenlight season 2. There we go. Have you already written it? I've got ideas for it, and there's 2 scripts that I've written that didn't make it to being filmed, and so that's 2 of my 10 scripts for season 2 written already. The Church. That's right. We haven't seen any of The Church. I have seen the edits of The Church episodes though, and they are amazing. It looks incredible. And I've seen it before the grade, before it's actually graded to look amazing. It scared me for a second by saying that it's the end of the season. Nah, just the end of the ones that we filmed. Was Long Rest meant to be chronologically after this episode? No. They were messed up for a different reason. Is Wizards of the Coast sponsoring this season? No, they're not. Maybe once it does amazingly well and absolutely astounds everybody with its numbers, and Wizards of the Coast will get in touch and sponsor season 2. Maybe. I mean, stranger things have happened. They have sponsored us for other content that we've made, so it wouldn't be completely weird, would it? What are the chances of a season 2? I think high. I think it's doing well. I don't know exactly the numbers. There's always a word I'm trying to look for. Not rubrics. I don't know not statistics. It's not quite the right word. Something like statistics. I don't know the analytics. I don't know. Metrics. Metrics might be the word I'm looking for. I don't know the metrics of how they constitute a success and what their other videos do and all of that. But from what I can understand, this is doing well this season, this series. It's got good engagement. It's getting good views. It's sending quite a bunch of people over to our other YouTube channel, the D&D channel, and so I imagine that they'll greenlight it for a season 2. But we shall see if we ever get out of lockdown. That's right. Seems like high production with lots of makeup, prosthetics, and numbers. Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of the prosthetics and weapons and props and things that we made for it are already made now, and so that would the cost wouldn't be as much for a season 2 as it would be for some new content. So it makes sense that they would do season 2 because they'd get a better return on investment. Cost benefits analysis. Maybe there should be more isolation games. Now we've talked about that Eorin. And it just doesn't, like D&D online just doesn't, it's not as enjoyable, and it doesn't capture the same sort of fun that D&D in person does. And you inevitably, no matter how good your equipment is, you inevitably have to deal with tech goblins. Like somebody drops out, or there's some sort of connection issues, or there's lag, or people talking over each other because they don't know who's... Oh, sorry, you go. Just stuff that slows it down and doesn't make it as fun. So we've decided it's not high enough production quality to do in isolation games. If we can get by without needing it, we're going to do so. So that's, I think, all I had to say about this behind the scenes. There wasn't a lot to talk about. If you want to see the footage of the bloopers, they have it on the Vive la Dirt League Patreon page. We were all tired by this point. It was the last one of the 3-day shoot, so we took a little bit longer to get through it for cracking up and for getting lines and stuff. I'll leave the discussion there.